Okay, we'll start with Newcastle Carers, which is the organisation that I work for. What is it that we're trying to do? We offer support to all carers in the city looking after somebody, whatever the condition is, but we have lots of carers who access our support because they look after somebody with dementia. What is it that we're trying to do for carers? We're hoping to help them feel confident in their day-to-day caring role. So do they feel that they've got the equipment that they need to do that day to day? Do they understand the medication of the person that they're looking after? Do they have an understanding of their behaviour? Are they managing day to day, really? The second thing we're hoping to help them do is to navigate the system. There's no handbook out there for being a carer, and it can be really difficult to know who to go to for what you're entitled to, etc. So we're trying to make sure that they get the support that they need, what they're entitled to, being able to put plans in place. So it might be about telling people where they can get assistive technology, which is often useful for if they're looking after someone with dementia. It might be about talking through power of attorney and how they can put those kind of things in place, which allow them to make decisions on behalf of the person that they're looking after at a later stage, perhaps when that person's unable to make those decisions themselves. So navigating the system is a really important bit of what we're doing with carers. And the last thing we're trying to do is help them get the balance right between looking after themselves and looking after somebody else. And I have to say that's often the most difficult thing that we find with people, that unfortunately often when carers arrive at Newcastle Carers, they're exhausted and they've got to the end of their tether, and it's at that point that somebody has suggested that they come and see us. And what I'd really like to say to all of you today is please talk to people about our service before that point. So it's that early identification and getting people into our services so that they get information and advice and support right through their caring journey. That can really make a big difference so that they don't get to that breaking point, and we can help them get that balance right, because if they don't look after themselves, they're not so able to look after the person that they're looking after. So early identification and referral is really important from our point of view. How do we provide the kind of support I'm talking about? Well, a lot of it's information and advice via the telephone. We have our carers information line, which is open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. And lots of people will ring with all sorts of queries, needing to talk through things, needing to just have that bit of information and use that telephone support service. We also have one-to-one appointments, so people can, when we're open, come in for about an hour's appointment. At the moment, those appointments are either online or on by the telephone. And that's an opportunity for people to talk through in much more detail about their caring role and to think through what are the things they need support with, what are the priorities for them. And it's very much a kind of person-centred approach that we take. So it's very much about talking to people about what is it that their needs are and how can we help them to move forward, really. We run training groups and support groups. We have a specific support group for carers of someone with dementia. As you would expect, those are happening online at the moment, but they are really important, that peer support. And I think we probably gathered from the little film that we had at the beginning with Gladys and Bill and Jimmy how much people really benefit just from talking to someone else who's looking and just feeling that they're not the only person who feels like that or who's dealing with that day to day. So there's lots of opportunities there for peer support. We send out regular newsletters and updates, and these days we have all sorts of social media, etc., Facebook and so on, that people can access for those who are able and want to do that. We run a counselling service. It's specifically for people who need support, that little bit more support around their caring role. And caring does bring up a lot of issues for people, and families are complicated things, and you put caring in the mix and it becomes even more complicated. And for some people, they just need that extra support, and our counselling service can offer them that. Opportunities for carers to give feedback and influence services is an important part. So for some people, they really feel that they want to make a difference and may be involved with us, for example, in training that we give or at events and so on, or in consultations that happen about how things can change overall for carers. And last but not least, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Carers Wellbeing Fund that Fiona talked about earlier. It's a discretionary grant scheme for carers. They can apply for equipment. So the obvious one, to give the example, would be for a washing machine if their washing machine is broken down, because perhaps they're doing extra washing as a result of their caring role. But it might be that they need a new bed and a new mattress to help them get a good night's sleep, which will help them in their caring role. So it can be an item of household equipment like that. It can be for some learning that they want to do, or a hobby that they have. So we've bought people fishing equipment or a bicycle and so on. So that's that kind of thing, something that's going to help them get that balance right, really. It can be for taking a break, so going away perhaps for a couple of nights, or taking a break by joining a gym and having that regular opportunity to do something for themselves. And last but not least, it can pay towards driving lessons if that's going to help them in their caring role. It is a discretionary grant. People need to fill in an application form, and they also need a supporting statement from a professional who knows them in their caring role. They're fairly small grants. We're talking about £200 or £300. That it varies depending what people are applying for. So small amounts of money, but it can make a huge difference for people. And it's for them as a carer rather than the person that they're looking after.